and by Craig Hannon, and we're going to react to last night's Champions League game that saw Liverpool through to the quarterfinals for the second year in a row. We've also got coming up a couple of inserts for those of us who are listening on podcast. First of all, earlier this week, a few of us went down to an event put on by the Steven Gerrard Academy. It was Women Who Lead, and we got some audio from there for you to listen to from some of the speakers and also organisers of the event. Also, I spoke a couple of weeks ago to Kath Pither, who's the founder of Yogi Bear, who have a really interesting partnership with Liverpool Football Club, and there's a really interesting story why it came about, and so that's coming up. And then, of course, we're going to look ahead to Brighton at the weekend, which is a massive game in Liverpool's campaign to get back that Premier League trophy that is rightfully ours. So all of that to look forward to. But before we do all that, Sean, last night was a bit of a funny one in the end. The team didn't really seemingly know quite how to approach it. Inter knew how to approach it. They were bundled for it, and in the end we got through, but not quite as comfortable and nice a night as maybe we were hoping for.
Yeah, do you know what? I enjoyed it. I think there was a bit of jeopardy that we didn't quite want, but I actually enjoyed the game. I think I love European nights. I think their fans were fun to watch.
Yeah.
The limbs were going off in there, and there was one point when they all got the scarves out, and they were like, it was literally like watching the opera. I don't know what they were singing, but it was amazing. I couldn't take my eyes off them. But it's European nights, isn't it? It can't always be pretty. And looking at some of the reaction online today, I don't really get the hysteria. I think you can't really judge that as a normal 1-0 defeat, as if we were playing in the league for 3 points. The psychology of that game was just always going to be completely different. We were probably playing for a draw. We probably could have even been playing for like a 1-0 defeat because we were still going to get through. So anything was going to be a bonus. And I think that changed the way we approached it. I think we were admittedly quite conservative, but then it was almost like because they didn't really offer that much, it made us go a bit more lethargic, and then it just kind of spiraled out of there. But yeah, I was happy with it. I think we weren't at our best, but we were still the best team, and that's all you can really ask for, isn't it? And we're through, so happy days.
Where are your hysteria levels, Ian Salmon, on yesterday?
I have no hysteria whatsoever. I couldn't go as far as claiming that I enjoyed the match last night. It was a bit grim, bit gritty, and I think one of the things that no one's mentioned, just saying to Andy before we started, I got in last night in the mood of, well, we weren't great, but we were okay. We were the better team across 2 legs. We deserved to go through. We could have scored about 4, only to find out that Rio Ferdinand completely disagrees with me. And apparently we were abysmal, and we were far worse than Inter Milan across both legs. And it was a very, very weird one. Inter were really good last night, I thought their closing, their pressing on us was fantastic. Every time Salah got near the ball, they had at least 3 men on him, so they were making sure that he wasn't getting anywhere near being a danger. He still managed to hit the post twice. There's a moment in the second half where he's got the ball at his feet in their box. They have 8 men in the box. They're 1-0 up at the time. They need a second goal. They have 8 men defending against Mo Salah, and so we threatened and we kept pushing. It was scrappy, but the thing that no one's talking about, the thing you'd not seen in reports anywhere, I don't know how much it hit because our kid didn't notice it, but it was blowing a gale down there. If you're in the main stand, or I presume if you're in the Kenny, then you know that you're in the middle of a hurricane. Apparently the cop couldn't feel it, but those lads on the pitch could feel it. You can see how the ball was holding up in midair and dropping to weird places. So yeah, it was job done on quite a grimy night, basically.
How did you wake up to it this morning, Craig? Obviously we get the emotions of the night and the the nerves, everything that sort of comes with it, the relief. But having woken up and slept on last night, where are you at with it?
I think that was a team that knew they had played every 3 or 4 minutes, every 3 or 4 days for almost 2 months now. I knew they were going to be, playing every 3 or 4 days, possibly forever at this stage. John, God knows when this run of games ends. And I think so. It's a 180-minute tie, and we don't need to overexert ourselves. They didn't need to sort of push on and push up and get at Inter because they're 2-0 up in the tie. I think if you watch the games one after the other, if they were played one after the other, and you had to watch it in full, you'd sort of go, yeah, no worries. That was the kind of result you'd expect. And Like, I didn't feel like Liverpool were out of control of the tie at any stage. I think even the goal that Inter gets, it's sort of out of nothing. It's, he hits it. Andy tells me it's a TAW, by the way.
Even better. Should have got 2 then. I love a TAW.
And so I just feel like, the very fact that Liverpool have gone into the quarters for the 4th time in 5 seasons now under Jurgen Klopp in the Champions League, I think that means that we hold this team to higher standards than maybe others would. And I think in a weird way, it looked like at the end of the game, it looked like a result that sort of everyone was happy with. In that you see Inter sort of celebrating with their fans, and their fans get to say they want at Anfield, and Liverpool get to go through, but they have something to look at this season and go, right, well, that needs to be better. They have something to reflect on now rather than it just be win.
Yeah, I think that's fair what Craig says, Sean, in that, we and clearly others, including Rio Ferdinand, hold this football team to a very high standard. And so any, slight slip or, people are maybe, looking for questions or answers that aren't necessarily there. I think if I was looking at that from another team, I have to say Bayern Munich went to Inter Milan and won 2-0 away and then got beat 1-0 at home. I thought, they've just coasted sort of through that and done what they needed to. I wouldn't be going, maybe maybe they're not very good.
You've only got to ask, like, if you look at all the stats, it kind of tells the story that you need to know. Like, we hit every post, they scored a wonder goal. Like, it was all in our favour. Like, who had the most attempts? Liverpool. Who had the highest XG? Liverpool. Who had the most passes? Liverpool. Who had the most possession? Liverpool. Who had most passes in the box? Liverpool. Who had the average position higher up the pitch? It was Liverpool. Who was the most threatening player on the pitch? It was Trent. Liverpool. You can see where I'm going with this. Like, Liverpool outplayed them, and I think a lot of people have tried to just say something a bit alternative, and that Inter gave a good account of themselves. But I was thinking, if the shoe was on the other foot and Liverpool were in a way like had to win to get through, and they played like that and they underperformed in almost every department apart from goals scored, I wouldn't be happy with it. I'd be disappointed. I don't think it was a great away performance considering you had to get through in that leg. So yeah, I think Liverpool were on the front foot for most of the game. I wasn't really worried. I think they maybe might have won the midfield battle at times, but I think we definitely outplayed them offensively. I think 2/3 of our shots came in their box, 2/3 of their shots came outside the box. I don't even think they got a shot on target in our box anyway, which just goes to show we defended very well.
Sean makes a good point there, Ian, about looking at it from the other way. And I think, getting into that mindset that Sean's just described, maybe it reminds me of a few performances for Liverpool when we got back into the Champions League and we huffed and puffed and did well and everyone tried really hard. But in the end, we got schooled a couple of times by teams who had just had more European experience. And Inter Milan haven't been anywhere near this stage for a long time. I think it's 10 years since they've been in the knockouts. And so their fans are probably looking at that and thinking, look, we've done all right, but we've come up against Liverpool. They just know what to do, don't they?
Yeah, I think also if you were to, it was a European tie. It was an old-fashioned European 2-leg tie. It doesn't matter how you get through. You just get through. If Rio Ferdinand had been right and we'd been outplayed across 2 legs, it wouldn't matter. We're in the last 8, they're not. Really doesn't matter. All that matters is where we are. And if you flip your way of thinking and go, well, the first leg was at Anfield. The second leg was at their place. If you'd won 2-0 and lost 1-0, it's been absolutely delighted with it. It's a perfect European tie that way. We just happen to do it the other way around. So there's a lot of fuss going on, and a lot of people, as ever with the media, they're looking for a narrative. They're desperate to have some narrative that says Liverpool are flagging at the moment. I saw somebody posting yesterday that goals are deserting us at a crucial time. I think it was one of the subscribers posting it. And it's kind of like, I understand where they're coming from, but West Ham was a great game of football and they were really good and we were really good. And last night was a 1-0 loss where we could have won 4-0. It's kind of like, it's not necessarily, don't treat this holistically. It's not indicative of anything bigger than just last night in itself.
Yeah, Ian's right there, I think, Craig, in that, trying to analyse a performance and result, a particular result when a 1-0 defeat was fine is almost kind of impossible to put into context, really. We go to Brighton in the weekend, with a completely different scenario. We know exactly what we need in that game, which is a win. Brighton have done okay this season, but I don't think they're anywhere near the level of the Italian champions, or indeed West Ham, how they're playing at the moment. And so trying to draw any big conclusions, from last night, I think is a dangerous thing, especially as the other guys have pointed out. I like Sean say we hit every post. I enjoyed that. We hit every post. All the posts.
But if Liverpool needed to win that game, the approach would have been different. The tempo would have been raised. The lineup would probably been different as well. I don't think maybe Curtis Jones starts and you see Henderson in there. The whole occasion would be different. Anfield would be different. Everyone would have been bouncing in there knowing that we all needed each other in that moment. And I think so that's why I'm finding it sort of hard to get annoyed or for any aspect of the game to worry me. I know that there is a little bit of worry here that at times there was a little loss of control against West Ham, and then you wanted a bit of a better performance for this game so that we're going into Brighton, bouncing, but that hasn't happened. I think in terms of, you mentioned Brighton have been beaten the last 3 games, I think, all by teams down by the relegation zone. So it's not as if they're, in anywhere near the level that the Serie A champions are going to be, as you mentioned. So I think in terms of the BT Sport, the Rio Ferdinand stuff, I sort of feel as if they just had time to fill. And they talked about sometimes that happens, John. Do you know what I mean? Where Inter score the goal and it's a great goal, and they discuss that, and then everyone goes, yeah, great goal out of nowhere. And then they go, well, we've got 20 minutes left here. What will we talk about? And they centered the whole thing around Sanchez's red card, which if it wasn't a red card, it was a yellow. And if it was a yellow, he was sent off anyway. So that was that done. But they had 20 minutes to fill, John, I think.
I mean, of course, the Anfield Wrap is all killer, no filler. Do subscribe, download the app, and get all our fantastic content as we, go through this amazing end of the season. That's going to be very, very exciting for all concerned. A couple of questions coming in, a couple of comments, but I'm going to sort of read a couple out. I don't know how to scroll down, so it's already. Someone made a point, Sean. Oh, there we go. I've upped it out. What a producer. Luke Hogg says, Sean, thoughts on Jota's performance, just coming back to fitness or a dip in form? Where are you on Jota at the moment? Because he doesn't look quite at the heights of where he was before he picked up that little injury.
He's not, and I think he's not scored in the past 6 now. So it's getting to the point where it might be getting in his head. He definitely wasn't at his best. And I guess he was in the position, he was down the middle, wasn't he, that he usually does thrive and flourish. So yeah, I can't quite put my finger on it. It felt like a bit of an off day for all 3 of them, maybe bar Salah, but still not at his best. If you look at the shots, I think it was only Salah had 3, and after that it was Trent and Van Dijk with 2, which isn't a good account for the front 3, is it? But I think maybe it was slightly skewed. I felt like a lot of the game was getting played on the right hand side through Trent and Salah, so I'm not overly worried. And I think in a time when he's going through a goal drought, Liverpool have just won a cup. We've just won, and obviously he's not been playing, but we've just won against West Ham, top 4 contenders. So even when all the front 3 are having an off time a bit, we're still flying. So I'm not too worried at this stage. Even if you're looking at Diaz, I think he's not scored in a few games now. But again, like the fact that he's even playing so much as a new striker coming to the club, where most players do take a few months to bed into this Liverpool side, we're doing all right. And I also saw a bit of an agenda against Mane, like a lot of people ripping into Mane. But if you look at it, where he's playing in this new centre forward position, he scored 4 and assisted 1, I think, in the past 3 league games. And maybe
should
that's
have had another assist as well. The Salah.
Oh my God, that was
it's sumptuous.
I was most gutted about that out of all of them. That was a thing of beauty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's setting up huge chances. Maybe we'll get the best out of him down the middle. So I think there's a few things for all of them to figure out. But I think one of them's due to come into good form soon, and at the right time as well. So I'm not too worried.
Just on Jota's always been a streaky footballer. I remember whenever we signed him, that's one of the things that when you spoke to the Wolves fan, John, that's what he said to us. He said he'll score six games in a row, and then he'll not score for 6. The only thing that Jota's done in terms of progressing this game now is that those streaks, the goal scoring streaks, go on longer, and the time that he hasn't been scoring are shorter. And I don't have really any sort of worries around that, because he obviously lost a bit of momentum when he's got injured, and also the whole point of having 4, 5 brilliant strikers, 6, 7, God knows how many we've got now, is that when one isn't in form, you can bring another one in and they'll do the business as well. So that's why we've got all of these brilliant players up top.
Yeah, that's a good point Craig makes there, and in terms of we have got options now, and I think in the past we'd have had to play, the big names and the big stars regardless of form, or if they had little injuries that were troubling them, or you were rushing them back. Whereas now, we can see who's in form and playing when they're hot.
Yeah, I think Jota gets the game last night because he needs some minutes in his legs. I think that's the main reason. If we had to win, then you'd have probably started Diaz instead, because it would have made more sense, and Diaz shows what he's capable of when he comes on. Because again, if it's not for one of the greatest clearances, one of the greatest blocks you're ever going to see in your life, with Vidal suddenly teleporting in from nowhere, it's a 1-1 game, and Diaz has just scored a great goal after great service. So it changes the conversation again. But Jota needs a miss. I think the main problem is, since he got the new song, he hasn't scored. So the song has to stop for a while, I think. Sorry, lads. It's it's dead catchy and it's lovely, but it may not be helping.
I prefer that to blaming my interview, to be honest with you.
I do as well.
That one.
More songs, less give out, the Craig Hannon slogan on anything, to be honest with you. Just a few other comments here before we sort of move on. Live Bird MV says, yesterday's performance was clear, and why Bobby is so vital for us. I felt it was a Bobby Firmino game, and that was touched upon in the post-match contents as well. So a game that he really thrived. I think he's going to be back on Saturday, and so we shall see. But yeah, a few people making the point that it was, a game that we could afford to lose, and not necessarily a bad one to do it as well. And that's the thing, isn't it, Sean, is that Jurgen talked after the game saying, I don't like losing, I don't enjoy losing, but if there was one to, a great team knows when to throw these ones away. And that's the attitude we've sort of got to take, really. I can't imagine, that they're all coming in for the recovery day today, and it'll be nice to have one, by the way, because they haven't, beaten themselves up too much. It'll be, we're through, let's see we get on the draw, and let's look all forward to Brighton.
Yeah, defo. I mean, statistically, there's not that many games left in the season, is there? So statistically, we were always going to lose one. So, might as well be that one, as Peter Crowett said. And also, if you're looking forward now, just that's under the carpet now. It wasn't I enjoyed the game. It wasn't Liverpool weren't the best. I'm sure there's going to be problems that Klopp and the team will solve on the training grounds. But if you're looking ahead, there's only 3 games now until a 2-week international break, I think it is. That's 2 big league games against Arsenal, and we've got the quarter-final as well. So if we just smash these next 3 games, have a little break, and then we don't play at home really till, I think it's early April, isn't it, with Watford. So they'll be tough, 3 away games back to back now, but I'd rather not lose any of them than have lost last night.
Yeah, the one to lose, Ian, and I think Liverpool teams, throughout history, really have known when to throw away. I remember reading about championship winning sides who'd win it with 4 games to go, and then lose 2 and draw 3 of the last 3 games, because it was fine. Yeah,
winning streaks come to an end. They always do. And that was the first time we'd lost at home for a year and a day, apparently.
Yeah.
And, I thought Salah's comments after the game last night were absolutely spot on. Maybe it's what we need just to convince us that we're not perfect, take a little bit of swagger away, put a little bit of work back in. And, the comments that were made afterwards, I couldn't agree with. Was it Farrah Williams, was it?
Yeah. Played for Liverpool as well.
Did she?
Yeah, expected better.
Well, I don't know where that was coming from, because I thought the comments were absolutely straightforward. Maybe we just needed one to ground us. And maybe we did just need one to ground us. I don't think it was an excuse for a bad performance. I think it was just a case of, these things happen. We're not perfect. Let's start again. And you need them occasionally. And if you go and get one of them, better last night than on Saturday.
Yeah. Incidentally, a year and a day was the last time Craig made a brew in the office. But maybe that streak, you can end that streak soon, Craig, as well. Do you know what I mean? As the guys have said, all runs are aimed to be ended, and maybe that's something over the next week or so you could try and make happen.
No comment at all.
Okay, we'll leave it there for today. Who do you want in the next round, Craig? Before we finish off, actually, who do you want? It's a week Friday. There's lots of games still going, but if you could handpick someone to be drawn out, and if it actually count this time, who would you go for?
I'd like Real Madrid to put PSG out, and then for us to get Real Madrid and for us to put them out, because it'd be and I know that's probably not going to happen. Ajax would be a good one just because we got them last year, and obviously we all would have loved to have gone to, Amsterdam Arena is a stadium I'd always have liked to have gone to, and Amsterdam's a great city. Ajax are a good side though. I'm trying to think of who else is in there. Who else is in there? I just don't want Man City yet. I don't.
And Dicko says we are getting City nailed on. He says
no.
No, Ant, no.
Absolutely not. We don't want to go to Manchester in a fucking European away, right?
As someone who needs to be very careful about when he's getting to bed nowadays, Craig, it's not necessarily. I mean, there might be a decent chance because if City and United get through, then yeah, Manchester might.
Oh, I'd have United actually.
Yeah.
I mean, forget what I've just said. It's smashed them in the next round as well. I've just gone against everything I've said there. I'm sort of between wanting. I mean, I just want to win this competition. I just want to win it again. So whatever helps us win it, John.
Yeah, Aki 1892 says wouldn't mind buying. I would say Aki 1892 has got credits and is thinking about cities he'd like to go to. Munich is an absolutely wonderful city. We had a great time there a few years ago and won there, of course. Sadio Mane with an amazing goal on the night there. So we shall see. The draw is a week Friday. We'll be doing live reactions and all that. But before then, we've got some massive league games. Two, in fact, and we're going to be previewing the Brighton one. So if you're enjoying this live, we're going to go straight into the Brighton preview. If you're not and you're listening to it on a podcast, then you do have those two inserts from the football, the Stephen Gerrard Academy, and also from Cat from Yogi Bear as well. So enjoy those, and we'll be back in the studio ASAP. Not sure about ASAP was the right word there. Let me know what you think, people live. Really work. That's how my brain works.
I do make teas, by the way. Anyone that's still on.
The live people. He does, I know. It's just a bit of a running joke. It's funny skinny mates, isn't it? That's heating there. You ain't a day since you came in, lad. Hey, jokes. See? Skinny mates is fun. All right. Should we get going?
My trick is making really shit cups of tea and then no one asks me ever again.
That's John's as well.
Oh, hey! Yeah, Craig's waiting until everyone else is made, and then goes, "Oh, have you all got a tea? Have you all got one?"
Don't do that.
All right. Let me know if you want more of this chat, everyone. We'll go back into the actual podcast. Thanks a lot to me for those inserts. What a guy I am, getting around, speaking to everyone, and Craig disagrees. Listen, if I'm doing the inserts, Craig, I've got to thank someone, and it just so happens that I'm the hardest working man in the content team. But anyway, we'll move on to, he's not having it, to Brighton then. Brighton, Ian Salmon, it's a big game. 12:30 is not a kickoff that the manager generally likes. We went there 12:30 last year. They scored a very spawny penalty right at the end to sort of to draw the game. We can't afford to drop points, I wouldn't say, in this one. You're right to point out that drop points do happen eventually and are inevitable. But it feels like this one, Brighton away playing first, we need to go there and win.
Yeah. Every game, it's quite simple. The job for the rest of the season is win the next game. It's nothing but that. It's been that since day one, basically. But I paid no attention to Brighton whatsoever, apart from the bit where they turned up at Anfield and we threw 2 points away. So I didn't know how they were doing. But just looking at their form, looking at the league table, they're not in a great position, are they? They haven't won since the beginning of Feb. So you can't see them being an issue. And as long as we can put out a team that's strong and fit, then we should be able to take them quite easily. And God knows we owe them because we shot ourselves in the foot big style at Anfield with them. So it's not one I'm worried about, but it is, 12:30 is a horrible kickoff time. It's horrible to try and get anybody's mood up for the game. It's the one that we need. It's the next game we need to win it.
Yeah, me and you, Craig, have got a big old Friday night in Brighton planned. Craig's is probably even bigger than I realised it's going to be for our sort of Friday night. But, hopefully the players have got different plans, to be honest with you, because they're going to need to be on it bright and early on Saturday.
And if they do, if they don't have different plans, they're more than welcome to come out and work. Only the subs.
That's your choices. Either go to bed early or come out with us.
Only the subs. I don't want any of the first team ringing me up and saying,
Taki Minamino.
Yeah, Taki, you're more than welcome, mate. I'm excited. Do you know what? To get you excited for any game this season, this is what I've been doing. I've been thinking to what it would have been like last season. And last season it was in lockdown. And like someone, I think it was Ian there, mentioned them getting the spawny penalty at the end and it just being just dull and awful and basically summing up last season. So no, I'm really excited about it. I think that as you've mentioned there, they're not in great form. They're in that like strange position in the league where like there's no way they go down really, and there's no way they do anything of note above them. They're just there now, and it's coming to that bit of the season. And I think you've sort of seen that in their past 3 or 4 results. They've been really, really poor. And yeah, I think it's in terms of who we play and who's got the legs, and there will be a bit more rotation. I think I'm really excited to go down. It's my first time at the stadium, and I think Liverpool will win. I think that the 12:30 kickoff down there suits us in a weird way as well. I'm interested to see who he lines up with.
Yeah, 12:30 kickoff for us. SRB on the chat points out it's 11:30 p.m. kickoff for Melbourne, prime time for Aussie Scousers. That's a belter Saturday night. Absolutely fair play. And I know you guys did a big 3:30 because Melbourne Supporters Club were very kindly featured on our extended On the Whistle video, which is available for video subscribers, and they did a boss job. And they were it was lively in the Imperial 3:30 in the morning. They did it, but that was Sunday into Monday. So you deserve a nice little 11:30 for this one. And we'll all suck it up and sort of get on with it, because it's a big game, Sean, and that's the thing, isn't it? We could talk about kickoff times and what suits players and manager, but this stage of the season, it's beating what's in front of you, and what's in front of you is an opposition. It's days rest or lack of. It's injuries. It's everything really. Now isn't the time. If there ever is a time for sort of worrying about things that don't quite suit you, it's get on the pitch and do the business.
Yeah, it'll be tough, and I think we did look leggy, if anything, last night, particularly in the midfield. So I guess the one positive is that Henderson will have had a bit of a rest. Kite did the same as well. Diaz. So yeah, I guess the question in my mind is the midfield conundrum really, and if we're going to see a Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho midfield, if that's definitely the best midfield still on paper. I think it will be. So I'd like to see them as much as we can. I imagine the rotation before the international break will come to an extent in the FA Cup. So yeah, I'd like to see those 3 on the pitch. And then I guess best front 3 combination is still a question mark now. I think for me, I'm into the Mane down the middle, Salah on the right, Diaz on the left combination. I think I'd like to see that have a run against Brighton. And then also in terms of the kickoff time, and I guess just the fixtures this weekend in general, it's another weekend where we get to play before City again. So it's just another weekend where we can kind of get in their heads, get the points on the board and keep it at 3. No more than that.
It's a long time to look at the table in a 2:30 on Saturday till 8 o'clock on a Monday night. Crystal Palace will be bouncing Selhurst Park on a Monday night as well. So yeah, I'm with you, Sean. It's a long old time between the games to be looking at a points gap narrowing. Sean picked a bit of a team there, Ian. I expect Henderson, Keita and Diaz to all start after doing okay off the bench, albeit all 3 of them managed to get on once into we're down to 10, so it was a little bit easier. But I think that the 3 of them are in decent form at the moment. I think it was a rotation thing rather than a dropping for the 3, and I expect all 3 to come in. Do you?
Yeah, completely. I don't know if you can hear me. I assume you can hear me.
Yeah.
I'm not moving anymore for some reason, which is fine by me. I don't like looking at myself doing anything. I would expect the 3 of them to start. Keita's given us. He's in decent form at the moment. He's actually, he's still not the explosive player we thought we were going to get, but he's transitioning the ball nicely, keeps things ticking over nicely. Jordan does what he does, and Diaz for me is the most exciting player we have at the moment, just in terms of sheer explosiveness. So yeah, the 3 lads who look like they'll create something, and with Sean, that front 3 is perfect for me. I think the team very much picks itself from there. Then I think it's Fabinho, Henderson and Keita. I think it's the front 3. I think the back 4 is really obvious.
I think the only thing for me, Craig, is if you try and maybe give Fabinho a little bit of a rest. He's played the game there on Tuesday. Obviously, he's played quite a bit of football recently, and the Arsenal game is really big on Wednesday. He might be tempted to ask Henderson to play 6 and to play Keita alongside a Harvey Elliott or a Chamberlain or someone like that, and then save Fabinho and Thiago for that Wednesday night. I think that might be a little bit of a tempter for him.
Yeah, Fabinho's minutes is the only is one of my big concerns really for from now until the end of the season, really, and how we manage those, because suddenly every game is becoming a massive game, and suddenly you're talking yourself into, oh, we need Fabinho here, and then, oh, we need him at Arsenal, oh, we need him in the, and I think it's only really the cup that you probably look at and say, right, no, he gets a rest in there definitely. I think he might still play Fabinho and aim to get him off on 60 and then move Henderson back. I think I definitely agree on the Henderson Keita shout. I think up top Diaz comes back in. It's probably Salah, and he probably goes Mane again. I think, and then maybe looks at Jota midweek, because we know he likes scoring goals at the Emirates. And then in terms of the defence, I think again it's the two fullbacks, and then I wonder what he does in terms of Van Dijk, and maybe he does Konate, just because Matip played obviously last night, and
Konate's not in the squad at all last night, is there? So that's the only thing. So whether he's fit or available, I think it was an illness rather than so there's a bug going around, Craig.
Yeah, Matip gave it to him, didn't he? And obviously it'd be good, hopefully, if if Firmino's back, and then Thiago will be on the bench as well, unless he plays Thiago. But I just think again he's going to have to manage those minutes. Harvey Elliott's a decent shout. Actually, I'd be excited to see him.
Yeah, seems to have dropped out a little bit, Harvey, Sean, after obviously they were so keen to get him back and talked him up, and he played well, and then he's not really been available. Obviously, he comes on in the final and scores the penalty, which you have to celebrate silently. But yeah, you surprised me maybe not seeing him a little bit more, and do you think Brighton might be the one? Could be the one.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like I need to add context to that silent celebration, because I was away in
Thailand.
I think so.
I can never remember what's on recording.
I don't just sit in silence watching the game all the time. Yeah, I was away, and it was the middle of the night trying to watch it in the darkness. But yeah, no, it's interesting. He seemed to really drop off, didn't he? And especially when he had such a bright start to the season, he was keeping Henderson out at one point, wasn't he? The question mark in my mind last night was with Curtis, and I guess for me the right hand side is just Henderson or Elliott, but it seems like Elliott hasn't really been playing there much. But I think Curtis looked a little bit lost last night. I don't think it was a terrible performance. He looked pretty bright at points. There was one point when him and Salah kind of broke clear.
Carried the ball well, didn't he? I thought he carried the ball well, yeah.
So he's got those flashes. I don't know. I just don't think he's got the control. And I think in games as big as this, I think I'd like to see us freshen it up a bit. And you can either go two ways, can't you? You can play yourself into form, or if you're just having a bit of a stinker, sometimes you need to have a bit of time out and a bit more time on the training pitch. So I think I'd like to see Elliott, and I just want to see goals. I feel like we haven't had loads of goals lately. I know James Pearce did a piece on we've only had 3 goals in the past however many minutes of football, and I think Harvey Elliott provides that a lot more, that kind of attack and threat a lot more than what Jones would. So yeah, I'd like to see Elliott maybe come in one of the next few games.
Philip Quinn in the comments here with a saucy Divock Origi shout. Would you be tempted to unleash Divock on the South Coast on Saturday afternoon?
No.
Sorry, Phil. I tried my best to build it up.
Yeah, no, I know. I just blew about a minute's worth of contents out of the water there.
That's all right. That's all right.
No, I think Divock's great as a sub, but he'll come on, he'll score goals. He won't necessarily do a great deal else. But I want people who are taking the game to Brighton. I did see, going back to the Elliott thing, I've just seen Chris Brack saying feel like Elliott's getting the treatment for Foden City. I think it's easy to forget that Elliott's just come back from a massive injury, and you will have that adrenaline when you first appear, but you won't necessarily carry it through. There will be dips. And he only scores the penalty in the final because he's put back into the squad when Thiago's injured. He wasn't even in the match day squad that day. So I think we're nursing him back from that injury. So I wouldn't expect too much of the lad for the rest of the season.
I wonder if he had a plan for Elliott, and then he got so excited by his comeback and his goal, like we all did, that he's got, fuck it, I'm throwing him in against Inter Milan because I love him and I'm really excited about him as a footballer. And then he did all right against Inter, but he didn't really light it up. He didn't, he's brought off quite early in the game, and I think then he's maybe gone. He's caught himself on and said, right, come on, Jurgen, we need to allow this fella to some time to grow back into this football side and to get minutes in the legs, and at the end of the day, he's only 18 years old as well. So yeah, there's loads of time for him, and I think I'm convinced there's still a big Harvey Elliott moment in this season to come.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Just a couple of bits on live shows. We're doing a live show in Brighton on Friday night before the event. It has the glorious return of the Anfield Wrap Live, which we're really excited about. It's been a long time since we've been on a stage showing off. And yeah, we're going to get to do it on Friday night. A group of us going down. There's still a few tickets left, so do have a little look. And if you're down on Friday night, then come and join us. If not, and you are around on Saturday, the Brighton Supporters Club are doing an event with Boss on Saturday morning. Kieran Molyneux's coming down with his guitar and playing. There's going to be tunes from the Boss Mike playlist, and the best thing to get you in the mood for what we've all described is a massive game for Liverpool. So if you're around just on the day, maybe have a look at attending that. All the details on the Brighton Cop social media. And then we're going over to Ireland. Craig, someone's asking, how do I get tickets for the Belfast show? So if aside from being mates with you, I'm pestering you for guest list. How does Brendan get on the? How does Brendan get tickets for the Belfast show?
If he goes on to Eventbrite, BRITE.co.uk, and then searches the Anfield Wrap, or go on our Twitter. So it's the twitter.com/the Anfield Wrap. I think there's a the AnfieldWrap.com/TAW live as well. There's loads of different ways. But yeah, no, we're really excited to get back over. We're doing Warren Point this time, which for anyone back home will seem so random, but they've got a supporters club there that have been keen to get us over. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for all of them. Brighton, I think Brighton has only got about 15 tickets left. So if you are going to want to go to that on Friday night, now's the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Which one of the Irish ones is selling best, by the way? Do we know as a percentage?
Probably Dublin.
Yeah, love it.
Probably Dublin, but as we've got, because you've been going for so many years and like got so many mates and like subscribers and stuff, like the list for guest list and like all this, we've had to just say, right, there's no guest list. You might all be our mates, but it just be entire guest list.
That is the problem, isn't it? With endlessly making mates with everyone, is that people are less willing to pay to watch your nonsense. But there we are. You're gonna have to.
Nonsense, that is true, isn't it?
You're gonna have to, yeah. There's a couple of subscribers over from Ireland. Very nice to see Steve Brown and Robbie Ryan as two people who have become our friends, and as a result, are less willing to pay for our nonsense. But I'm sure they will. I hope you enjoy the tour live today. We'll just do a quick little score prediction before we finish. Sean, how do you see the game going, and what do you think the final score will be?
Yeah, I just think we're due a few more goals, and I think we've been solid defensively. So I reckon 2-0. 2-0 to Liverpool.
2-0 to Liverpool. Ian, how do you see it going, and what do you think the final score will be?
I think it's 3-0. I think it'll be a routine 3-0. I think it's time that we just demonstrated that we are still in the same form we've been for the last few weeks. As a couple of people said down the side, goal difference could be key towards the end of the season. I think it's time to start ramping them up, but I think a 3-0.
Have you got a particular forward who you think will be in the goals?
Diaz. I'm just endlessly excited about Diaz at the moment. I think he's a magnificent footballer. I've never seen a footballer hit the ground running like that lad has.
I'm buzzing off the idea of Ian Salmon just walking around like just thinking about Diaz
all the time, endlessly
doing his shopping, thinking about Diaz, putting a bit of music on, maybe cooking.
Getting Luis Diaz 23 in the back of his coat. Like
it's on the back of this. The moment I'm frozen. I don't know if anyone can see me moving, but you would have seen it. Otherwise, you've missed out on it.
Craig, how do you see this game going?
I think these next few games just might have to be games that we just get through. I don't think there's going to be many goals for us. Maybe one or two, but I think it's going to be a little bit nervy at times. Salah will get his goal though. That's my prediction.
I think Salah will score, and I think 3-0 sounds good to me on a Saturday afternoon, hopefully in a sunny Brighton. Listen, hopefully you've enjoyed that. There'll be loads more previews. We've done it a bit early this week. We wanted to go straight in after winter, so we've done Tour Live a bit early. So obviously there's loads more preview stuff to come. There'll be the team talk on our audio service, which is straight after the press conference on Friday. So Jürgen Klopp will do his press conference on Friday. I think he'll do it a little bit early this week with the game kicking off early and them wanting to get down. So that's something to look out for. So we'll be doing the team talk straight after that. Also on our video preview, there'll be something on there as well, and just loads of stuff looking ahead to this massive game. Then straight after the game, we'll be doing the audio, the post-match show, straight from the ground in Brighton. They've got a concourse that they keep open at Brighton, and they sell local ales, both local to them and to Liverpool as well. So we're going to have a pint and do it there, and hopefully enjoy ourselves. Hopefully after the big Liverpool win, and the post-match pints will be happening in Liverpool as well. So loads of reasons to download the app and make sure you're coming on board with us. It's really exciting into the season. As we've all said, it's the time to get it done, and it's the time that Liverpool will shine as the champions that they are. Nice one to the panel. Up the Reds.